On Mondays, we always love to get into our injury report. That's the main event for today. So it's kind of short.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad though. There were some fairly significant injuries this time around.
Indeed.
Napoleon Dynamite got hurt.
Who that?
Dynamite?
Napoleon Dynamite got hurt. I'm sorry. I mean Nick Foles.
Yeah, Nick Foles. Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
God.
Yeah, so we start with Nick Foles in Philadelphia. He went down with a shoulder fracture, clavicle fracture.
Yep.
That's now been confirmed. So we're looking at 4 to 8 weeks here. Best case scenario, if they're lucky, they'll see him for around Thanksgiving. Worst case scenario, they're looking at Christmas. But Philadelphia wasn't done. DeMeco Ryans also
Achilles
went down. We have with his Achilles now. I know that the team had originally reported it as an ankle issue.
I heard it's torn.
Yeah, so it looks like it's a tear, and that's going to be 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, he's lucky it's not a rupture.
The Denver Broncos had their share of injuries as well. They lost Nate Irving in the game. Nate went down with what looks like a pretty significant MCL injury. We're waiting for some further reports back, but look for him to miss at least 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, the report, it wasn't fully torn. It was pretty damaged, so they were saying anywhere between 4 to 6.
Yeah, okay, so that's fair. And then Wes Welker, he took a shot, and it looked like he was going to come back, but then he was ruled out of the game. I haven't seen any further reports back from there, whether or not there's, I think it was a complaint about like the ribs and back.
He got banged.
Yeah, so I mean, depending on whether there's something broken in there, or whether there's some muscle, or even, let's hope not some organ damage or something along those lines. We'll have to kind of wait and see, but he could miss some time. I guess what you say, he's questionable at this point.
Yeah. But hasn't he been questionable this entire season?
Yeah,
he was suspended for part of it.
Yeah, off and on. Arian Foster, I don't want to miss out on this one over in Houston. He went out with a hamstring, and the biggest issue here is that he's already dealing with a hamstring on the other side. And so even though this may not have been as severe, he's dealing with both now at the same time. So he may miss weeks or may just see very limited action, but something to keep track of, whether that's for fantasy or whether you're just a fan of the Texans.
You gotta look at the schedule, because if that's the case, the first chance they get to sit him, they got to.
That's right.
They have to.
That's right.
And then you had Marcus Lattimore. He's considering retirement due to injury.
Yeah. This is not a new injury. He's been working on this for 2 years, coming off of some fairly significant knee damage. And after 2 years of work, both by his medical professionals and I'm sure some very, very significant PT on his own right, it looks like he is now talking about just hanging it up.
You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. When the knees get damaged, too bad to play. I mean, you just got to move on. It's time to do something new.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I feel bad for him, but because that's a real tough. That's a tough thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's that's basically saying I'm gonna be done doing what I've been doing for the past 10, 15 years of my life that I've dedicated pretty much every second to my life of achieving. But he has to walk away knowing that he kind of achieved his goal to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And not everybody gets that far, and not everybody gets as far as they want to go.
Right.
I feel bad for him, but he'll bounce back.
On a positive note, RG3 was back this week, and he looked great.
Whatever with that guy.
So
whatever
he looked
with
great
him.
for a hot minute. He'll be injured again.
Hey, whether or not he's injured or not, he was back right on schedule, and he looked good. So.
You know what? Well, first of all, with the injury reports, we usually like to say who we think is going to suffer the most from theirs. And so I'm going to go right off the bat and say that it's probably going to be Houston.
Yeah,
it's going to be Houston.
I would agree with you if I knew a little bit more about how much Foster's going to actually end up missing, whether he's just going to be limited play or whether he's out for a week or two.
But even if he's limited and he does play or whatnot, like their passing game is anemic right now.
Yeah,
and all they have is running. And your best threat has 2 bum hamstrings.
Yeah.
So you have a crippled offense at this point right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? They have Blue, I think is his name out there, and he's pretty good. They got him like the 6th round or whatever. And he's pretty good, but he's good because Arian Foster wore you out here and there. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Without that, it's going to be a problem. A lot of people are going to say Nick Foles, but Mark Sanchez understands that offense. What Chip Kelly's doing over there, Mark Sanchez understands because it's a hair of college.
Right.
And that's why he was able to jump right in. Keep in mind, Matt Barkley's over there and has been over there longer than Mark Sanchez. But Mark Sanchez moved up the depth chart because I'm looking for him to actually do pretty well for the Eagles.
Right.
He's got weapons. He's got a good line. All he has to do is manage games and not get himself in a hole where he's forced to throw deep and stuff like that. And he's going to be all right.
And a Chip Kelly offense is multi-threat.
Exactly.
So I wasn't going to go Foles. I'm actually more concerned about Denver's impact right now than any of the other teams based on the injuries from this week. I think, with Wes Welker down again and having lost Nate Irving out the linebacker core, I mean, they've got depth without a doubt. The defense is an area where they're starting to feel it. So
the only reason I'm not worried about them is because their offense is part of their defense.
Yeah, right.
And as long as Peyton can keep them off of the field,
yeah.
then they're not going to be very, very badly exposed. And you still have Von Miller and everybody over there. So it sucks that they got a guy going down, but I'm not that worried for him.
Yeah. I would say, suffice to say, this week, I don't think there's a team that's going to feel it real big.
Yeah.
I think this week, I think teams are going to be able to sort of get around
I think this week it's more of there's just minor concerns. Like I have a concern for the Broncos. I definitely have a concern for the Eagles. I think Mark Sanchez can pull it off. As you said, and he understands that system. But I also haven't seen him in action in a while, so he could have it could have been a Brandon Whedon where he was hot and then got the win and.
I don't know about being hot.
It's just a concern.
Yeah. I mean, rightfully, it makes sense. Only I say this, though. For a guy who hasn't thrown a touchdown since 2012, he came in and was rolling. So I don't even...
You know what, man? I agree with you. He came in and I was like, fucking jeez, it's the Sanchez show all of a sudden. Came in and then started doing good. I'm like, fuck, this kid came in to play. He came to win.
And I don't think he did anything out of his capability or characteristics.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly there.
I think he played right. That's why I think that when he's put under duress is when Mark Sanchez folds because he tries too hard.
Right.
There's too many weapons in the Eagles for him to feel the duress by himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's a second-string quarterback, so the pressure's a little different than being the guy in New York.
Yeah, and still I go back to this whole because of that sort of college-like multi-threat offense.
Yeah.
You can roll a guy out of there. You could do, if you want, if you feel the need, go ahead and click that 5th star. Give us 5 stars. We always like the 5-star ratings.
Yep.
Subscribe to the podcast. Check out our YouTube channel, please. We put videos up every day of the week at youtube.com/thepastsports. So be sure to check that out. Social media. Turtle is our social media king. Everything at the Past Sports, pretty much you name it, we're there. And we may be doing this daily. I think we may try it out this week. Turtle and I are going to play with something tomorrow and see if maybe we don't start